Finally, we have gotten a new look at the upcoming Phantom Blade Zero from Chinese developer S-Game, and this game is going to be an action RPG from a newer property. It's not necessarily a new IP, because I believe this is like a sequel to some kind of mobile game or something. I would have to go back and read up more on that information to get further confirmation. For the most part, this is new. This is not, a previous story that anyone's really familiar with. And it's going to be a very fast-paced action game. Now, there's a lot of people that have not seen this game before. And so this trailer was the first time that a lot of people have even heard of or seen footage from this game, and so there's a number of people that are confused. But something that I thought was rather interesting regarding the comments on multiple uploads for this trailer is that people are miscategorizing what this game actually is in terms of its genre. There's a lot of people that are saying that this is a Souls-like, and there's a lot of people that are saying this is like a Devil May Cry style game. And it is neither. So I have captured a number of screenshots, and I wanted to go through these. Not all of these comments are talking about the same thing, but most of them are. And most of them are claiming that Phantom Blade Zero is a Souls-like game. Some are comparing the game to Dark Souls, some are comparing it to Sekiro. Sekiro's yet another Souls-like game. One person compared this to Devil May Cry. It is not Devil May Cry. The game is not a Devil May Cry clone, not even remotely close. But most of these are saying it's like a Souls-like game, or that it is basically a lazy Souls clone. And the game is clearly nothing similar to that. It's nothing similar to the style of what a Souls game is. Those are the first set of comments that I really want to respond to. This is not a Souls-like game. It does have Souls-like elements, however. It has a healing gourd, which is similar to like the Estus Flask in the Dark Souls games. That healing mechanic goes by a different name in other Souls-like games. But basically, it's the same in every Souls game where you have a limited number of healing items that you can use in battle. So that element from the Souls games has been brought over here. There's also the Sekiro comparisons, mainly due to this yellow bar right here, which is basically like a posture bar. It's not a stamina bar, but it's similar to the posture system that's in Sekiro. There's also a little bit of Stellar Blade in here with the colored attack animations that the player has to use specific counters in order to respond to what's happening on screen. And we saw that quite a bit in this trailer right here. Where the game is not a Souls-like is clearly in its pacing, as well as the fluidity of the animations from both the AI and the player character. Souls-like games do not move like this. Souls-like games are designed for you to fight one character at a time. This character is taking on multiple opponents at once. Souls-like games are not designed to do that. None of them are designed to do that, including some of the faster ones like Neo comes to mind. The Star Wars Jedi games, those are not designed to do that either. So while the game is taking inspiration from certain Souls games, Souls-like games in that genre, it is not a full-on Souls-like. Regarding the Devil May Cry comparisons, because some people have claimed that this is like Devil May Cry, this is nothing like Devil May Cry either. Devil May Cry is a fast action game, but it's not this fast, for one. For two, there is no grading system on screen. Devil May Cry is all about being as stylish as possible and building your rank, which you're graded on at the end of each stage. Devil May Cry also emphasizes aerial combat, air combat, and this game clearly is more ground-based. So it is not Devil May Cry either. That would be an inaccurate comparison to make. Also, going back to the Souls-like comparisons, another reason why this game another major reason why this game is not a Souls-like game is because the enemies do not respawn when you kill them. That is something specific that I remember reading, that I recall reading about Phantom Blade Zero. When you kill the enemies, they do not respawn, even if you die. So automatically, that's another major design trait that's found in the Souls-like games that is not a part of what this game is going to be. Therefore, it shouldn't be compared to those games. A way to say that it's just another Souls-like, or a clone of the Souls-like games. Now, we also have some people that didn't comment on the gameplay at all, rather commented on the platforms in which the game is going to be made available. And clearly, these people cannot use a search engine, or they don't know how to use a search engine. Simply typing in Phantom Blade Zero, it's pretty clear that this game is going to be made available for PC and PS5. Originally, there was a release window of fall 2026. But at the end of this trailer, it clearly states that the release date will be announced in 2025 this year. I don't believe this game is coming out this year. They may be holding this fall 2026 release window, and until they announce the release date, we just don't know. Now, another big thing that was praised in this trailer is the music, which I will play a few seconds of here. So that music right there is clearly some kind of death metal track that's been combined uniquely with a string arrangement. And the reason that is a fantastic artistic choice is because, you know, of the genre. First of all, death metal and just metal in general is a very aggressive genre of music that's often misunderstood. You have to have a trained ear in order to listen to music like that. And as someone who's written 2 different metal albums myself, and has nothing but metal music on my phone for the most part, with few exceptions, and as someone who has 4 different guitars, likes to play metal music in my free time, I can tell you that metal music definitely fits this game because of the speed of what's going on screen. With the inclusion of music like that, it's clear that the developers made a choice to emphasize those endorphins that the player feels while they're playing a game like this that's very fast-paced, and it's meant to emphasize the fast-paced nature of the game and the aggressive fighting style on screen. Then combining it with the string arrangement was just icing on the cake. They did a fantastic job with the music, and then it goes from a death metal track to more of just a straight heavy metal track. And so the music is something that really makes the game stand out from, you know, other games in this genre. When this person says they should make the music something that fits the theme of the game, it's very clear and obvious that this person doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. Especially when they categorize the music as rock music, which rock music and metal music are 2 very different things. Rock music is played at a much lower tempo compared to metal music. It's not as fast a genre as metal music. So this person, who's obviously musically illiterate, has miscategorized what the music in the trailer actually is, and therefore should not and cannot be taken seriously. One interesting comment that I came across is this comment right here, where this person tries to make a critical, in-depth dig at the game and fails at doing so. His comment, which states that it's a little annoying that the character on screen is facing multiple foes, and most of the time he is only fighting 1 or 2 at a time, and the others are just standing around watching nothing. And then he compares this to, I guess, the earlier entries of the Assassin's Creed series, where, as he says, everyone just stands around waiting for their turn. This is a rather ignorant take for 2 reasons. Number 1, just because you have enemies standing around and you have to fight 1 or 2 at a time does not make the gameplay unengaging or bad or unrealistic. Another video game series where a lot of the AI will just stand around most of the time is the Batman Arkham franchise. And this combat system to this day remains, as far as I'm concerned, the best combat system in a character action video game that's ever been created. Person is wrong on that front, you know, that you can't just have a bunch of AI standing around, because literally that's what happens in the Batman Arkham series consistently. Now, imagine if they developed these games to where the enemies all attack Batman at once. What would happen? The player would get overwhelmed, and the game would become frustrating when the game is supposed to be a fun experience. And that's the problem with this person's comment. This person doesn't have a very vivid imagination, clearly. He considers this to be immersion breaking because a lot of the enemies are just standing around waiting for their turn, so to speak. But again, if you have all of these enemies attacking at one time, the game is not going to work. It's a video game first and foremost. The character cannot react to 5 or 6 different enemies at one time. I will praise S-Game here because they're putting in more of an effort to make more of the AI be a part of the fight. It gives off the illusion that you're fighting multiple opponents at once. Or validity, because, you know, in certain parts of the fight, you have multiple foes that attack you at once. This person's not really giving the game enough credit and is basically nitpicking just for the sake of it. And then finally, we have people who watch the trailer and really don't understand what's going on at all. This person is asking, how are they making the combat look so fluid? This person had a similar comment when he asked, how did this guy manage to defend and dodge all of the attacks against such a difficult boss? Well, as I recall reading, Phantom Blade Zero has an automatic dodge system similar to what was in Final Fantasy 15. So you press and hold down a button and the character will automatically defend or dodge. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but there is some kind of automated system or mechanic for defending against attacks. So that's part of what's going on here and why it looks the way it does. And then certain attacks you have to actually respond, which are those color-coded attacks right here, where your opponent will like light up and you have to respond correctly based on what the attack is. Now, regarding my personal opinion of the new trailer, as far as I'm concerned, this is the most impressive trailer that I've seen for a video game for the entirety of the 9th generation of gaming. It is extremely impressive what they've done here. I love the art direction here. It's familiar, but it's not necessarily generic. I love the combat system that they came up with. I love the fast-paced nature of the combat system and all of the small details that they put in it, particularly on the AI side. I like the fact that it is grounded, and it seems that the game is going to be focused more on a semi-realistic style with swords and what other weapons you can use. But there are going to be some fantasy elements thrown into it as well. I like the second phase and this whole puppet marionette thing that they have going on here. It's extremely creative, and it looks great on screen. I can only imagine what the concept art for this fight looked like. They were like doing the storyboards and everything. It really does look fantastic. And I also want to say for the record, this is how you market a video game. I am sick and tired of, you know, video games receiving CGI trailers and whatnot that don't showcase gameplay. Now, this game had, you know, a trailer like that, where they only showed like a few snippets of gameplay, but that was just the announcement trailer, which was basically like a teaser. Since then, we've had some actual, you know, in-depth gameplay that's been shown, even long before this trailer was released. And now we have more footage of it. And they're not just showing the game, but they're showing the game, you know, in engine with the HUD on screen and everything, so you can see exactly how the product is going to play. And it's highly unlikely they're going to change much, if anything at all, from now to release. So, you know, what you're seeing is what you're going to get. This is the way the game plays. This is, you know, what they're selling. This is what the product is going to be. They're doing an excellent job with the marketing. They're doing an excellent job with the soundtrack, the music of the game. They're doing an excellent job with the combat system and the art direction. This really does look like a true like ninth generation game that's pushing the envelope and trying to give players something new and something different. And even though it has all of these different elements from these other games, it's not exclusively one thing or another. It's not exclusively Ninja Gaiden. It's not exclusively Souls, a Souls-like, or any of the other games it's compared to. It's basically a new creation that's an amalgamation of different styles. This game is a combination of different games that have been made over the years. And that's why it looks the way it does. That's why it looks so unique compared to other hack and slash games that have been released in the past. Really don't have anything negative to say about this. And I'm pretty critical when it comes to these things. This was an excellent trailer. And at this point, I would keep the marketing to a minimum. And I would only showcase the game every few months just to keep it on everyone's mind. So no one thinks that this game has become vaporware or anything like that. And then finally, when they're ready to announce the release date, showcase something else. Not necessarily another boss fight, but maybe show like a few minutes of a particular set piece that the game's going to have, and use that for like a release date announcement. That's what I would do. We'll just have to see, exactly what the marketing team, decides that they're going to show next. And the last thing I want to mention is that I saw a comment from someone who criticized the fact that they showed an entire boss fight in this trailer. And of course, this is someone else who doesn't know how to use a search engine, because it's already been confirmed. Phantom Blade Zero between 30 and 40 hours in length. This is going to be a long game, and this is just one boss fight out of many that the game's going to have. So as far as I'm concerned, the developer made a wise decision as to what they were going to show. And the general responses that I have seen are very positive. I don't know exactly how successful this game is going to be when it comes out. I don't think the game's going to have the same level of success that Black Myth Wukong had, but you never know. So again, Phantom Blade Zero, the release date's going to be announced later this year. This is likely going to be a 2026 game. I'm not sure if they're still targeting a fall release, but they have more information to reveal. I would like to make a follow-up video and share my thoughts on whatever it is they have to show.